Parents, let's rethink youth sports. It's not just about winning, it's truly about developing. This video is for parents to understand how important it is to separate your young athlete, your youth level athlete at a young age. But the only way we can do it, we got to stop getting caught up in the offers and trying to be the best player at the youth level. We got to think further, more about longevity. And I think if we can think about longevity and figure out how can we get these young athletes developed at a young age, we can help them make progress and continue to separate themselves on the middle school and the high school level, and then prepare them for camps. Welcome to Fitness King 360 podcast, where today we're talking about developing youth athletes from the age of 6 to 9 years old. I know most parents hate hearing trainers tell youth level athletes how important it is to focus on your development. I know this day and age, athletes at the age of 6 to 9, parents at the ages with kids at that age are only concerned with playing the game, being the best athlete on the field, and that's great. But what we have to understand, and as these athletes continue to move forward in their journey of being an athlete, or being a football player, a basketball player, a baseball player, it's only one thing once they get to the middle school level and the high school level that's going to separate them. It won't be the talent anymore. It will become the development stage of the athlete. Because I've coached at the high school level, I've coached at the youth level, and what I understand about that is the more I coach and understand what coaches are looking for, not only are they looking for talented athletes, they are looking for athletes that are developed. I think that's the number one part as a coach that you look for in all athletes. So if you can develop an athlete at the age of 6 to 9 right now, by the time they start to separate themselves on the middle school level and the high school level, guess what? The most important piece is out of the way, and that's development. So yes, at the age of 6 through 9 years old, I truly think that we have to focus on the fundamentals of things. I know that's never a fancy word for most parents. Let's say parents, because at ages 6 through 9, those athletes only know what you put into their head. So if you're telling them at the age of 6 to 9 that they need to be the best athlete right now because of the fact that they need to be able to stand out right now, I don't truly think that's true. I truly think that they have to work on the fundamental things that they don't ever learn after they begin to start running and moving and lifting and changing direction. If you look at a young athlete at the age of 6 to 9 years old, it's always one or two athletes on each team that's going to be way more advanced than others. Those athletes don't understand how to even use their body when it comes to changing direction. If you watch them do a push-up, you watch them do a squat, they don't have the coordination or the stability to be able to do these type of movements. So what do we focus on in that case? I call it the ABC. ABC is agility, balance, and coordination. Imagine if we would focus on the youth level athletes with the agility, the balance, and the coordination. Imagine if we put more emphasis in on that at that level. Then I think the athlete can continue to separate himself at the middle school level and the high school level when it comes that time. And when we talk about agility and balance and coordination, we talk about speed as well. And what I want you to understand about the speed movements, I see guys training athletes at the age of 6 to 9, they got dumbbells in their hands, they got barbells. How can you use a dumbbell or a barbell if you don't know how to use your own body weight yet? So what we do install into those 6 and 9 years old athletes when they're ready is we install the med ball, the body weight, and the sleds. That's the only thing they should be doing. Why is that? Well, the sled is because it's something that teaches them how to push their own body weight forward, right? And then if you do this same exact thing with pulling the sled backwards, you would notice a totally different movement from them. You'll notice that they can't figure it out because their backside mechanics that most people don't know about is super weak because it's never been developed. They've never been taught how to squat. They've never been taught how to bend correctly. So those things happen. But if we only use those tools when their body is ready, then we could take these athletes to a new level of speed at an early age. So I recommend that you take your athletes at the age of 6 to 9, teach them how to do a correct push-up. Teach them how to do bodyweight squats. Teach them how to do bear crawls. Teach them how to do reverse lunges, lateral lunges. Teach them how to do those things consistently first. And what I mean by that is continue every time you see the young athlete, you continue to hammer those movements. It's several more movements that we can do with just body weight, but those movements, to be exact, is perfect for developing a 6 through 9 year old athlete. I'm telling you that right now. So no eccentric movements should be going on for any athlete at the age of 6 to 9. What do I mean by eccentric? No barbell movements, no dumbbell movements. Why? Because at the age of 6 to 9, we understand that the athlete cannot control his body. No matter how much weight you put on the bar, no matter how much weight you take off the bar, no matter how many different sizes of dumbbells you try to use to make it look better, to make it feel better, the athlete is not ready for barbells or dumbbells at that point in time, at that age, right? So why? Because he's not able to sustain and use his body weight first. If he can't naturally or she can't naturally use the body weight, it's no reason for us to pick up a dumbbell, barbell, anything that requires them decelerating down with that movement. So what I would say, the only thing athletes should be doing at the age of 6 to 9 is body weight movements. I'm going to give you a couple things that they should be doing for upper body and lower body, and for change of direction stuff. Well, foundational speed stuff, I would say. Upper body wise, they should be doing regular push-ups, body weight push-ups, flat on the ground. They should be doing incline body weight push-ups. They should be doing decline body weight push-ups. They should be doing pull-ups, body weight pull-ups. For lower body, they should be doing squats, elevated squat, elevate the toes, elevate the heels, hands overhead, overhead squats. They should be doing body weight lunges. They should be doing reverse lunges. They should be doing lateral lunges. Lateral lunges, out of all those lower body exercises, probably by far the hardest movement to do. And I think it takes a little bit more time invested into the athlete at the age of 6 to 9 to master that movement. I know that for a fact. Also, speed development stuff that they should be doing. I would say jump rope, pogos. I would say high knees, butt kicks. I would say bear crawls. All of these things could be done in different planes of motion, whether it's lateral, backwards, whether it's transversal plane. All of these movements could be done all different ways. You start adding these movements into what you normally do. Even plyo movements like squat jumps, like lunge jumps, lateral jumps, transversal jumps. Those are a little bit more advanced 6 to 9 year old movements. But once they can master the foundational things, then you can start jumping with them. You cannot start jumping right off the bat, because obviously that's just like using a dumbbell or a barbell. They're not ready for that movement, that explosive movement yet. So make sure when you're planning and doing your foundational work for your young athletes, your 6 through 9 athletes, make sure that you're setting a foundation for each and every kid, because each and every kid will develop differently. Okay, so at this point in time, the athlete that has developed from the age 6 to 9, if the athlete has developed a lot faster, you can go ahead and start taking that athlete through development sport movements, like whatever position they normally play. Now you can start working those movements a lot more. These are really the movements that they naturally do all the time at practice, while it's hard to try to coach and develop an athlete at practice, because at that point in time, it's too late to try to tell him to bend his knees, tell him to get down in the stance, tell him to backpedal correctly. Well, his body has not been developed the right way. He hadn't used enough body weight to be able to do those things that you're asking the athlete to do. So it's going to be kind of tough. So sometimes you have to regress the workout and get that kid into individual training. But if he's more developed and ready to go, now you can go into those developed sport position drills. And those drills should be, like I said, it should be just your position that you would normally do. Now you can do those movements a lot more fluid, a lot more smoothly, and you can change direction a lot better than what you were doing at first when you were not developed. At the age 12 through 16 years old, at that point in time, we should be tracking the progress with the athlete. What do I mean by tracking the progress? Each and every one of my athletes have the notebooks to be able to track everything that they do. Now, with this age, I would say around 13 on down, a lot of my athletes at the age of 9, some of them at the age of 7 do have notebooks where they track those workouts. But the only way I allow them to use those notebooks, they have to be able to retain information to be able to be ready to actually write this stuff down and track their progress. If they're not ready for that stage, then we won't give them the notebook. But most of those guys at the age of 12, when they come in, they have notebooks. Why are we tracking the progress? Because after the assessment is over with for each and every athlete, we need to make sure that they understand what it should look like to write a workout down, track their progress, when it's time to add more weight on, when it's time to go down on weight, because when they start tracking their progress, then they start automatically learning how to use their body more naturally, because it is important that we train the athlete to be strong. But not only just strong, right? It's also in these type of stages, we need to teach them not only to be strong, we need to teach them how to be mobile, because mobility for the athlete, flexibility for the athlete is going to obviously help them be more athletic. So are we training them to be strong? Yes, but we're training them how to move in different ranges of motion now, in different change of direction, because at the end of the day, now the athlete needs to be more athletic on top of what he or she already has. And also at the age of 12 through 16 years old, now we can start using movements like push and pull. Now we can start doing some more bench press, some more dumbbell rows, some more back flies. But at that age, for me, for 12, 13, and 14-year-old athletes, I like to start off with machines first, because machines are easier to use. It's more stable, because still and yet, the athlete has not reached the full capability to go through range of motion eccentrically and concentrically. So it's important that we start these athletes off on machines first and let them learn how to use and control their own movements first from a machine, and then we're ready to teach them how to start doing more advanced movement. And also at that point in time, when they're using these machines, now we're teaching them about technique. We're teaching them what should be happening so we can make sure we target the right muscle, what should be happening to make sure we're making the right progress, and we're seeing the body develop even more and get stronger and more explosive. So now, like I said, this phase, we want to teach them how to utilize the push and pulls and machines, and also the correct technique with what they need to do to be successful. So in conclusions, what I just did for you guys is really gave you the information that you need for your athletes at the age of 6 to 9, especially at the youth level, what you should be doing, why you shouldn't be doing certain things, how you should be taking the approach to get the athlete individually better at a young age, what you should be focusing on at a young age, and also walk you through what you should be doing for athletes at the age of 12 to 16, when you should start tracking the progress, when you should start really talking about technique and utilizing and showing them exactly how to utilize machines. If this video has helped you in any way, make sure you subscribe and like this video for plenty more tips